Now with his breaking news, second straight one and done out of Phoenix. What's the latest you're hearing there? Are you surprised that Budenholzer got fired today?
I'm not surprised at all. This Suns team has drastically underperformed in some way or another since kind of their construction, whether it was Kevin Durant and Devin Booker or whether it was the addition of Bradley Beal. Now, I will say this, and I'm kind of on the side of the coach is always the first domino to fall when there's a change that is being made or needs to be made, whether or not it's completely the coach's fault, right? And I say that to say Kevin Durant, Bradley Beal, and Devin Booker immensely talented when all healthy, when all on the court at the same time. But as we know, that has been a problem for this Suns team, having those three guys on the court at the same time. And also, when you talk about the modern NBA or where the NBA is at this current point in time, that construction of a top-heavy offense where you just rely on three superstars, three all-stars coming together and winning a championship just does not work anymore. We are now seeing you need complete teams to win in the NBA in the year 2025. This is not the big three in Miami. This is not the big three in Boston when they won their championship with Ray Allen and Rondo and those guys. It takes more than just three guys. And I think this Suns team, whether it was because Devin Booker has been part of the organization for so long, whether it's Kevin Durant and him getting up there in age, wanted to give themselves the best chance to win immediately, and they thought, let's go ahead and get three guys together and microwave ourselves a championship. It does not work like that, and it has proven to not work like that for other teams, and the Phoenix Suns are no exception. So I'm not surprised by the firing of Coach Bud, but I will say this. He's an excellent coach. We have seen him win before, and I don't believe that the failure of the Suns organization is all on his shoulders.
As you mentioned, health is such a big part of this. They have a big three over there. What is next for this Phoenix Suns team?
It's the question mark of where does Kevin Durant go if he does go anywhere, right? You would have to believe that the firing of this head coach, of their head coach rather, is a way to maybe show Kevin Durant like, hey, we're willing to do whatever we have to do to keep you. That's just me assuming, right? I'm not saying that there was an issue between Coach Bud and Kevin Durant, although there were multiple videos that showcase that he may not have been the happiest with him throughout the season, but losing does that. It kind of causes issues in the locker room. It causes issues with your premier talent. So I don't know if this is the Suns' way of saying whatever we need to do to make you happy, Kevin Durant, we're going to do. But you would have to think that if you're KD, you're also looking at the situation like the coach wasn't the only issue. And in order to get assets, you have to move one of those three guys. And it's realistic that Devin Booker is not going to be moved. Bradley Beal has a no trade clause, so he can dictate where he goes. And Kevin Durant, although he's closer to 40 than he is to 20, is still one of the greatest players in the game right now. You can get a lot of return from him if you were to trade him in the offseason. It's just a matter of which of those guys will be moved to give the Suns their best chance in building and constructing a real roster with a real chance of winning, and whether or not that roster is going to include Kevin Durant. That's the big question mark moving into the offseason for the Suns.
The Suns finishing 27-44 following that 9-2 start. Head coach Mike Budenholzer now gone. I want to ask you before you leave, the New Orleans Pelicans, they fired their executive vice president David Griffin as well. After 6 seasons, the franchise will have a new head of basketball operations. What's your take on that move, Ash?
That I'm not surprised with at all. Although the Pelicans changed organizations or front offices rather in order to make this team better run, it had been rumors circulating, even going back to Redick and Anthony Davis, that the front office wasn't really good at maintaining and keeping talent. And this change was to kind of push back against that narrative. But you look at what they have done, and again, I wouldn't say all of this going back is the fault of David Griffin. You can't win games if you don't have healthy players. And the biggest piece of that health puzzle goes to Zion Williamson. He's
advancing to the first round of the playoffs to face Boston. What are you watching for in this one?
All right, so Jacqueline's going to be very happy with me and my answer. I have the Magic coming out victorious in this one. Do not tell her that. She might sing the song, and I don't want to hear that. I just think the Magic, look, this is a team that I actually had being a playoff contender, or rather finishing in the playoffs when the season first began. Obviously, they were plagued by injury at the worst possible time. It kind of faulted the rest of their season and had them playing catch up rather than playing from ahead. And as we know, Paulo, that guy right there, is such a huge part of what makes this team work. And when he was out, Franz Wagner was also out. It was just a double whammy for this Magic's team. But when they are healthy, when they are playing and playing the way that they have kind of been playing down the stretch, they're tough. They're big, they have that physicality, and also the addition of KCP gives them a lot more of a lethal threat when it comes to that three ball, when it comes to the shooting of this team as a whole. Don't get me wrong, I love Trae Young. I know that's hard to say as a Knicks fan, but he is a phenomenal player. I just don't believe in the totality of this Hawks team the way I believe in the totality of the Orlando Magic.
Miss Jacqueline is not going to let you live this takedown, that's for sure. But she'll be happy with it on the flip side. Elsewhere, the Grizzlies will be on the road to face the Warriors. Two teams very familiar with each other, having seen each other 4 times in the regular season. 3 games went to the Warriors. Are you expecting them to take this one as well?
Yeah, I have the Warriors. It's interesting, right? Regular season, they dominated the Grizzlies, like you said, 3-1. So they're familiar with this team. They play well against this team. But here's the kicker about the Golden State Warriors. They don't do well in the play-in. They don't do well in these types of games. And Draymond Green kind of spoke to that the other day in a press conference and said, hey, yeah, we don't do well in these types of environments for whatever reason. So I think that we're going to see a different Warriors team, though, in this type of environment because of one guy. He goes by the name of Jimmy Butler. And you know how Mariah Carey around Thanksgiving starts warming up for Christmas time? This is Jimmy Butler's Christmas time. This is where he flourishes. This is where you're going to see exactly why the Warriors went and got him. Because, yes, we saw Jimmy in the regular season, and he's made significant differences in how this Warriors team plays. But I'm going to tell you right now, you are really going to see why the Warriors made this move. The full bang for your buck, if you will, comes because Jimmy Butler in the playoffs is a legend, and that legend is going to push the Warriors above the Grizzlies in this matchup.
All right, great analogy. Let's now get to the Heat and Bulls. Chicago just absolutely rolling, have won 10 of their last 13 games. That includes a home win over Miami, completing a 3-game regular season sweep. What is your prediction for this matchup?
This one was a little tricky for me, Jordan, because the Miami Heat are a tricky team to really figure out, right? Down the stretch, they looked a lot better than they did throughout the entire NBA season. Eric Spoelstra and the Miami Heat organization drill the ideology of Heat culture into your mind. Basically, what that means is there is no problem you can't overcome because we are gritty, we play defense, and that is what we are built on in the 305. But when you look at just the team as a whole, I just don't believe that Heat culture is going to be enough to push them over the edge in this matchup. You talked about it already. The Chicago Bulls swept the Miami Heat in the regular season. Now, when you get into the playoffs, yes, it's 0-0, but I do think there's some truth to how a team, or teams rather, play against each other in the regular season. There's a saying that I love, and it's styles makes fights, or styles make fights rather, and I just